Although the Beatles officially disbanded in 1970, their legacy was far from fading away. Throughout the 1960s, they had transformed from a group of young skiffle enthusiasts in Liverpool into the most iconic pop band in history. After the split, each member pursued a distinct solo career, but the spirit of the Fab Four continued to resonate, especially in the work of drummer Ringo Starr. Starr's journey with the band was somewhat different from that of his bandmates. Unlike the others, he hadn't been part of their earliest incarnation, the Quarrymen, in the late 1950s. Instead, he had been performing with a fairly successful group called Rory Storm and the Hurricanes in the early 1960s. After meeting the Beatles during their time in Hamburg, he officially joined the band in 1962, replacing Pete Best, and from there the story took off. Thanks to his unmistakable drumming style, Starr quickly became a vital element of the band's sound, even if he wasn't always given the same credit as Lennon, McCartney, or Harrison. His contributions as a songwriter were often overlooked, which may explain why his solo catalog hasn't received the same level of attention or acclaim as those of his fellow Beatles. In the aftermath of the breakup, all four members were eager to carve out new identities separate from their time in the Beatles. Yet for Starr, the band remained a constant source of motivation. He frequently invited his former bandmates to collaborate on his solo projects. Paul McCartney, in particular, appeared on several tracks. At one point, Starr even revisited the past by recording a new version of a Beatles classic. On his 1998 solo album Vertical Man, Starr worked with a number of musical peers, including both McCartney and George Harrison. Their presence seemed to shape the final sound of the album, which featured a cover of the Beatles' very first single, Love Me Do, a song that had originally been written by McCartney and Lennon in their teenage years, long before the band officially recorded it in 1962. Starr had always held a deep affection for the track. It marked a milestone for the band, introducing them to a global audience and embedding them in the cultural consciousness. In a 1972 interview, he reflected on the release with a sense of awe, describing that moment as more significant than anything else. Having a physical record out in the world felt monumental to him. It was a moment of arrival. Still, when the time came to re-record the song decades later, Starr felt hesitant. He later admitted that it took some inner work to feel ready. One of the tracks on Vertical Man, titled Puppet, explores the mental hurdles and self-doubts he had to overcome. One of those doubts, he revealed, was the idea that he simply shouldn't attempt to cover a Beatles song. But he eventually challenged that mindset, reasoning that if others thought his solo work carried a Beatles-like quality, then perhaps it was more of a tribute than anything else. Although the 1998 rendition of Love Me Do didn't replicate the explosive success of the original, it served as a heartfelt nod to Starr's roots. For longtime fans, the cover was a nostalgic and affectionate reminder of the drummer's vital role in Beatles history and his enduring connection to the music that started it all.